Nah, but I definitely want to get started just by saying thank you for your time. And how are you and your people doing during this crazy year that we call 2020? I always like to ask that first and make sure that you're doing all right and your family and friends are doing good.
My family is doing pretty well right now. I am doing pretty well. I have my ups and downs, you know. I've been, I know how to get through them way better than I used to though. And it has been a year of just like craziness, unexpected tragedies. You know, at one point I feel like I was waking up every day bracing myself for tragedy. And it's like, that ain't no way to live. My anxiety was like through the roof.
Right.
And but there's a silver lining to everything, you know. It has been a year of rediscovering for me, a year of taking time for myself, and a time to think about, you know, a time to think about things and be still. So it has been a year that is unforgettable and a year that I'll for sure remember for the rest of my life.
I think that goes for all of us. 2020 will go down in history as a year that nobody will forget,
Mm-hmm.
through the good and the bad. So how have you adjusted to everything that's been going on? Because like most of us, I'm sure you had plans going into this year of what you thought the year was going to look like. And then with everything that happened, you had to adjust. So what did your adjustment process look like?
The adjustment process was just surrendering to God. Really, it was just kind of like, you know, I had all these ideas and plans. I was supposed to put my album out earlier, you know, and perform at Coachella and all these things and all these other festivals and, you know, just do it completely different. But I just had to surrender to what was going on, you know, and remember that it is bigger than just me and my plans. And, you know, my grandma always told me, you make plans and God laughs at them, you know, so I get it. And, you know, and things always work out for the better somehow, you know.
Yeah,
You know, even through tragedy, there's always lessons to be learned. And, you know, I feel like through George Floyd and Breonna Taylor at that moment in time, I feel like they were the straw that broke the camel's back, you know.
right.
And it sparked similar to like how Emmett Till was, you know, and
Yeah,
it sparked a whole different unification and consciousness between us all. And all the losses we've been experiencing from, you know, personal friends of mine to, you know, heroes from afar. It's just been like, it's been a tough year, man.
yeah. It, it,
Hmm.
it really has, man. But you know, you've been on the front line speaking on these things. I remember you were on the Diddy State of the Union address when
Hmm.
we found out that COVID was really affecting our people more than any other community, and you were one of the first people to really tell people to chill out and stay inside. So I salute you on that, my brother, for real.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I knew a lot because like my mom's best friend had died. Everybody I knew had it. Like all my friends, close friends had caught it. And it was just like, it was a real, you know, it was a real thing and it still is a very real thing. I was actually just talking to The Rock and he was saying that, you know, him and his family had it.
Hmm.
And it was like, he said it was for real. You know, they said they're on the other end of it now and they're doing fine, but it's something that's like, you know, be very aware of and still be aware of it, you know.
Yeah, that's why I've been staying inside for the most part and working diligently. So that's real, man.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about one of my favorite projects out right now, Detroit 2. It's been a long time coming. Um,
Yeah.
how long have you been working on this? Because it seemed like you just put everything into this project.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been working on it for a couple years at least, you know, since the kind of like the end of 2017 going into 2018, but I felt like I was also working on myself, so that's why it took so long. You know, I took time out to really like address what I felt was going on that was, you know, wrong with me. I felt broken inside. I felt like there was a lot of things that I had to figure out and I wasn't familiar with these feelings. So it took me a lot of time you know, I took the time out to process it and to deal with it and to work on myself. And, you know, I'm still working on myself. I feel like we're going to be working on ourselves till we're at the end of our lives. You know, I don't think it's ever going to just be like, okay, I mastered life,
Yeah.
you know, but I definitely went through a period of expansion. And, you know, it was frustrating because at one point I feel like I couldn't come up with anything creatively that I liked musically.
Hmm.
And music is like my happy place, and I wasn't happy, you know. So it was like I felt stagnant. I felt hopeless. I felt like way too much depression, way too much anxiety, and it was just hard for me to get through the days, you know.
Wow.
But I took time out and, you know, did therapy, did a lot of spiritual work, you know, a lot of deep meditations, taking a lot more time for myself and putting myself as a priority first.
Yeah.
And that helped out a whole lot, and it made me return to my passion. It made me return to being happy and like being able to think of things differently, you know. So
Mhm.
that was the point of why I called it Detroit too, because I feel like I was returning to when I made Detroit. I was very passionate and coming from a place of like hunger, and I feel like I was returning to those roots, but as a new and improved version of myself. So it was like all lined up.
You can hear the focus on the project as well as the emotion and the passion on there. So it definitely was an incredible work of art, and I enjoyed it. I actually want to ask you about some of the creative process behind it. We're going to get into some of the songs that I want to ask you about in a minute, but I got to ask you about these interludes with
Uh-huh.
Dave Chappelle, Erica Badu, and Stevie Wonder. Like,
Yeah.
how did that even come about?
Me like hounding, you know, chasing them down and like explaining to them what I was trying to do, and they heard me out though, you know, they understood and appreciated the vision, and everyone was different, you know. Like with Dave Chappelle, I ran into him hopping off of a plane and he was hopping onto a plane,
Mhm.
and he's one of my idols obviously, and the first thing that was my first time meeting him, so I'm walking up to him and
Wow.
he's walking up to me and he's like, I love your dad, man, your dad. I was like, what? Like, this was like 5:30 in the morning too, so I didn't know if I was dreaming or like what was going on.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, man, you know, so my dad had called me a few months before that and was like, man, I just left Dave Chappelle's show, man. I was kicking it with him. You know, he loves your music, son. Like he
Yeah.
told me, and I'm just sitting here thinking, you know, my dad can exaggerate some things sometimes. So I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, cool. So I had to call my dad back and be like, oh, I didn't get, I didn't get it, you know, and
Yeah.
uh, you know, so Dave was just cool, man. He was like, not only will I tell a story, you know, story about Detroit and your dad, like
Yeah.
he was like, anything else you need, I got your back too, man. So I appreciate him for that. And Erica Badu, you know, I just hit her up. I reached out to her. I didn't really know her too well. I've met her like once or twice. And she was just so down to talk about Detroit. You know, she said it meant so much to her and working with Jay Dilla and like
Yeah.
her experiences. And so I appreciated her doing that, you know, and keeping it so queen mother on there for me, you know what I mean? And
Right.
connecting, you know, she said Detroit where the Nubians grow. I was like,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah. Yeah.
crazy. And Stevie Wonder, he's the only one that's from Detroit, obviously.
Right.
But he is like the GOAT to me. He is like the best, greatest of all time singer songwriter, and just extremely talented, you know. So it was a true honor to have him on there. And he actually hit me up about something completely different one morning. He called me talking about the city of Detroit, how we could help out with COVID.
Hmm.
Then he asked me what I had going on, and I told him I was working on the album called Detroit. And
Yeah.
eventually we linked up in the studio, and he was like, yeah, I'll do the story for you, but can I hear the music first? And he heard the music, and you
Wow.
know, that was one of the most proudest moments for me because he was like so proud of it. And like I remember he heard Guard Your Heart and he like started clapping, you know, a little bit and dapping me up and like, man, this music, he was like, this is such good music, man. And you know, so hopefully that leads to me and him making music together for sure. You know, we talked about it for this album, but that was something I didn't want to rush because I only had a couple days left at that point to turn the album in, and I was like, no, if we are gonna do something, it has to be like right and take that time, you know.
Man, that's gonna be amazing right there. And it's so funny when I was listening to the Dave Chappelle interlude, I remember him talking about that night in his
Uh-huh.
Netflix special
Right.
when he bombed in Detroit, and then when he was talking about that your dad was the one.
I know.
and,
Crazy.
and it skipped out on him. That was hilarious. It kind of made the whole story come full circle.
Nah.
But there's a lot of heat on there. The 3 songs that like I personally liked, of course, the whole project is dope. Was the first one was Body Language.
Uh-huh.
I think that's just an incredible song. How did that one come about? How did that come together?
Well, Body Language was it's an original song, is a sample called Soulful Moaning that was like super popping in Detroit. It was like one of the first local R&B songs I feel like ever in the city that wasn't really popping anywhere else but just in the city. And it had an impact on me, you know. It was like all the school dances, all the late night quiet storms, like they was just running that record for years, like so
Right.
it had an impact on me, so I decided to flip it. And I wrote 5 different versions of the song, man. Like I like had this song since I had the beat since 2015. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And so for Detroit 2, I was like, man, I gotta figure this one out. So I was in the studio with Ty Dolla $ign, and somehow the first time he heard it, he was able to like really figure the hook out. Like that was one of my biggest problems, you know, and that's why I kept writing so many different songs and just overthinking it. I'm for sure an overthinker.
Mm-hmm.
And he nailed it. And then I ended up writing that last version of it. I played it for Janae, and, you know, told her, I was like, this would be hard if you got on it. So she was like, oh yeah, you know, she loved it and did it and did her verse to it, and, you know, stacked it and all her ad-libs and just adding her energy to it. And it's just a beautiful song. It's like, it reminds me of just like love. It's like with all the chaos going on, it's just, you got to take that time to, you know, feed each other on a soul level and on a love level. You know what I mean? So I'm glad people seem to really like that one.
It's a great song, man, and it's doing tremendous numbers on Pandora right now.
Amazing.
The next song I wanted to ask you about was Deep Reverence,
Uh-huh.
obviously with the late great Nipsey Hussle, and then
Mm-hmm.
just the clip at the end was just, make the hairs on your arms stand up and whatnot, man.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me about that song a little bit.
Man, what an honor, you know what I'm saying, to even make that happen. To get I just appreciate the support from all Nipsey's people too, his family, his like friends, and everybody, you know, who was involved. And it was an incredible song, man. And it's a very vulnerable song.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those songs where it's like I'm spilling my heart out on it. And Nipsey just like, he just pops it off perfectly. And I know that's one of the last verses Nipsey did too. So
Mm.
it was a big honor for me, you know, and I'm very proud of it and very proud of Nipsey for his legacy that he's leaving. And, you know, one of the things that I said after he died was like, man, in my own way, not in his way, but in my own way, I want to continue his legacy and always pay homage to him, you know. And
Yeah.
that's why I was like, let me make sure I rap about Dr. CB, because that's something that me and him, or how some people say Sebi, some people say CB, you know, or like strengthening our community and like, you know, supporting each other, businesses, Black businesses, and, you know, taking care of yourself and mentally. I feel like he was on that same wave, you know what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
in a different way. So it's like I always keep like a piece of him with me, you know, when I especially while I was making this album. So it's great
Yeah.
to have him on it.
Yeah, no, it's another great song. And then the last song I got to ask you about is the 9-minute song, 9-minute plus
Yeah.
Friday Night Cypher with damn
Woo.
every Detroit rapper on there. But I really liked how you reached across all the different, I guess, generations of Detroit rappers. I mean, everybody from Eminem to Royce the 5'9". You got T Grizzly on there, and then you got the new guy, 42 Doug, who's just making a whole lot of noise right now. how were you able to like pull that together, bro? Because that was incredible.
It was very tough. I'm not gonna lie. It was very tough because it was tough to figure out because first of all, there are so many beats, you know. So it's like, how do all of these? We got to make sure that it sounds cohesive.
Right.
And I used to do a show called the Friday Night Cypher, where I went down to the radio station every Friday when I was in high school, and that's how I was able to meet Kanye and rap for him, because I had a relationship at that radio station because of the show I did called the Friday Night Cypher. So the style of the show was they would play a beat, like a popular beat, and you would have to rap to it, and then it would go to the next beat, next person, and it was like that type of style. So I just wanted to recreate that. And I knew we couldn't use the same beats, so I was like, I got with Hit Boy, and Hit Boy was like, how about we flip some of the like classic beats that you rapped on, that you feel like that you loved rapping on, and you know, we flip it. And so that's why we did the grinding, we gonna make it beat, and like a lot of stuff like that mixed with new beats. But yeah, it was hard, man, because honestly, a lot of people on their songs before that, they had beef with each other. Like, it was a lot of like, you know, I don't only want to highlight it or talk about it, but I'm just on some shit right now where it's like, dog, we got people getting choked out. We got bullets in our backs.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have time to be beefing with each other. We are beefing with a whole systemic foundation that is like completely off right now. You know what I mean? So they were all down to just come together. But it's hard, like I said, it was hard to highlight everybody's style and make sure it fit right, you know?
Yeah.
But it happened at the last second.
You pulled it off, bro. You pulled it off, man.
Yeah.
I salute you for that, because when I saw it, I didn't know if I was reading it right, because I saw those names, then I saw the length of the song. I was like, oh my God. Then when I listened to it, I said, wow, this is amazing right here. This is history.
Yeah, because it's like you want to do something that keeps your attention going too. You don't want it to like get boring. It like has to keep switching and stay dynamic. And I'm glad we were able to execute it. And hopefully we shoot a video for that one soon. That's one of my goals.
That would be big, man. You know, I'm gonna wrap it up right here before my surprise. It's funny when I knew I was doing this interview, I thought about like the first time that we met. It was like 10 years ago. I think you had just signed with like Good Music and Def Jam. You were on promo tour in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? We met at the radio station I was at. I was just a mixer back then. Yeah, great energy. And I think you were doing one of the parties that I like DJ'd at that night at Club Essos, man. And, you know, ever since then, I just want to say you've always been the same person anytime we link up, anytime we talk and whatnot. So I appreciate you for that. But what do you think has been the key to your longevity? Because just thinking back about that, that was like 10 years ago. That was over 10 years ago. And here you are still putting out great music and still have people talking and still very relevant.
Yeah. I have no idea what the key to my longevity is. I just think that one of the things that I think is I never try and do something twice. Like, if I have success in something, I'll just leave it at that. Like, one of my things with artists, I feel like their mistake is like, oh, if they're successful in something, they'll try and recreate it. But I realized that when you do something special in music, it's like catching lightning in a bottle. So it's like, you can't necessarily always do that twice. So I kind of just never try and repeat what I've done and try and find a new evolution of myself, you know? And I don't know if that has anything to do with it. But I am very thankful though. You know, I'm very like, I feel like my life purpose is to like inspire and do what I can, you know, to give some variety to the rap game and just be myself, you know. Hopefully people can relate to it in their own ways, you know. So I'm very thankful though, and, you know, way too blessed to be here, man. It's an honor for real.
Well, we're thankful for you, man, just not only for your creativity, but your service to the community and, you know, your humbleness and whatnot. So I want to give you your roses right now. Obviously, I'm over at Pandora, and you are one of only 600 artists to have over 1 billion streams across all genres. You actually have 5 billion streams total, and these are just U.S. streams because Pandora is only in the U.S. So I'm gonna have to do this virtually until, you know, we're able to link up. But on behalf of Pandora, I want to present you.
Wow.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
gotta take it. I gotta take a picture of that. That's crazy. Wow.
Again, man, you are one of only 600 artists across all genres on the platform. They have over 1 billion streams, and you are at like 5 billion right now. So once things open
Wow.
up, man, and get back on the road and stuff, we're gonna figure out a way to get like one of these to you, you know, a custom one to you personally.
Man, I appreciate that, bro. That's an honor. Wow, 5 billion streams. Crazy.
5 billion. That's just US, man. So
Yeah, crazy.
congratulations, my brother. I'm
Yeah,
very,
thank you.
very, very proud of you, man.
Thank you, man. And God bless everybody, you and everybody at Pandora too, man. And you know, it's good to see you where you at too. You know, I remember way back then in Atlanta, and it was a whole different time, man. And yet we still here. We looking better and younger than ever. You know what I'm saying?
I thank God every day. People ask me what you do. I
Yeah,
say, hey, man, that's God's favor right there.
yeah. You know, so God bless you, bro. And thank you for the support, man. I really appreciate you listening too, for sure, for sure.
No, absolutely. Thank you.